Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to .NET DC and the Angular DC special event. I am your host, Sean Colleen, joined tonight by Alyssa Nicole. So, is it Nicole or Nicole?
Nicole, but I married into
Nicole.
it, so I'll
I
take
think,
anything.
go figure. It's I give two options and it's the third one. That's the classic me. No, very, very great to have you here, Alyssa. Thank you so much for agreeing to be with us, and thanks to everyone out there for joining us. We've got a poll up there that we're running just to get a little bit of curiosity as to where you're viewing us from tonight. So if you've got a second, go ahead and head to the poll site here. I'll throw it up on the screen as well. You can respond to the poll there. Right now it's a map. We'll switch it to a couple of polls throughout this warm up, and we're excited to get some information about you all and find a little bit about your interests and where you're coming from. So how are you doing tonight, Alyssa?
Wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I gotta say, it's been busy days. Today I had my electricity off in our house.
Oh
We were coordinating
no.
some improvements to our electrical, which meant that I was without power. So luckily, my employer allows Excella, who's the sponsor of the event, has a great office space and kind of like optional as you need it kind of a thing. So it was really lovely to be able to relocate there as needed. But yeah, the house was dark today, so I'm happy that the power is back on in time for the event. That's for sure.
I'm glad for that. It's way too warm, at least here, for power to be off. So
Yes, absolutely. Like we try to pre-chill the AC and see if it would last us throughout the
oh,
day. And my
that's
wife
smart.
said it made it very almost. So not quite, but it was good enough. I see we've got some international folks viewing, which is awesome. Really happy to see folks from outside the U.S. viewing things as well. So welcome. Really, really great to have you with us. And this also makes me happy because we don't always have people participate in the polls, so I love seeing those little dots pop up and that. So I have to ask you about your water container.
Oh
So
yeah, my massive water.
is there a story that it's a massive water container? It has the Heinz
Yeah.
ketchup logo on it. Is
Oh
it just you
gosh,
collect
yeah.
stickers on it, or is it what
Yeah.
is the?
Oh, look, it's Mike Brocky in the chat. Hey, Mike.
Oh, hey.
So definitely Stanley, I guess. I don't know. It's been going around
Oh, it's
social media that this cup is superior. I don't know these things. I'm not in the know. My sister bought it for me and my mom as Mother's Day gifts. And so they come over to my house often and we all have matching cups. So I decided to put some of my tech stickers and random other stickers like this one's, do you remember web standards? Like when supporting web standards and like Zeldman and all
yep.
that was like a movement.
It's like a
Like
state. Was this yes?
yes, I've been holding on to and I'm like, finally, this one is from a TikTok where this guy, he's into D&D and he rolls every day for what sandwich he's going to make. Pure joy. It just brings me joy. Like, I don't
That's
know.
delightful. No, see, I think, well, especially no. Anytime you could find a moment of joy that makes you happy. For me, I mean, I really, it's funny because I haven't seen it for a minute, but the dog where they did the bones or no bones, and there were bones or no bones days that was happening for a bit. That was. I tuned into that. I was there for it
to see what kind of day it was going to be. Exactly.
Yes. Yeah, you gotta know. Is it going to be a bones day or a no bones
hey,
day?
Frank's World. Good to see you too.
Hey, Frank's World.
That's a good idea. So right, we often in the tech industry have lots of stickers. My laptop only gets like 4 or 5. I know some people go crazy. What's your policy, Sean, on the laptop?
Yep.
Where do you?
So I've varied over time. So I had a laptop, and it was about the time. It was way back in the .NET Fringe days. Was that 2016? I think so. I was so excited about that conference. It was like one of the first big conferences I had been to at that point. Like the people there, it was a phenomenal event. By the way, I still think about it fondly. But then I had the .NET Fringe sticker, and then sticker started taking over that laptop. And on this one, I got the new laptop, and I said, you know what, I'm going to see if I can keep it clean. And I've kept it clean, and I feel like I know that sometimes
there's not a single sticker.
No stickers. I was thinking of it like a blank page or canvas, and I don't know. So sometimes I do get the urge to cover it up.
Like
sometimes
not even putting one. Like oh man, that's like a statement. I can't imagine.
I knew it was going to be because there can't just be one. I feel like so it's either going to be plastered with them or it's going to be clean. And I realized that like collecting the stickers and figuring out which ones to put on and where to show them, it was taking like way more brain space than I wanted it to.
Does.
So I said,
it really
blank
does.
slate
Yeah.
for me. So
Yep. No,
the,
I mean,
yeah,
to be
Frank
fair,
is right. The first sticker is
oh,
the
the first
hardest.
sticker
That
is the
is,
hardest. It is. It's so true. I have this, Band-Aid ripping off policy with stuff like that, though. It's kind of like with UI too. Sometimes I see developers and they just kind of like get frozen with it, and I'm like, just do the button. Just do the button, right? Like pick something, anything, and just rip it off. So, yeah, the first sticker. I
well,
can't
I
believe you
was
have
also
none though.
well, I was also influenced, and this is probably actually plays more into it than I realized. I
What?
had one sticker at one point. The adhesive wasn't great, and what it ended up doing is kind of like there was this like just yucky spot on the laptop where it had kind of peeled away. Like, this is the downside
Yeah,
of the sticker, where it was just
yeah,
it wasn't, I guess, not a top quality sticker. But
yeah,
the
yeah.
so as a result, I had to scrub it off, and so I think that may have found its way into
Oh
it too.
yeah.
But maybe perhaps you've inspired me. If I put a sticker on the laptop, I will make sure you're the first person to know.
Oh, thank you. No, we need to know what makes it on first. What was the sticker that made you crack?
Exactly. Actually, I've got to have some stickers around here. I
Mm.
always get that great. I enjoy Hacktoberfest every year, and so I always get those.
Oh,
For those, and I thought I would donate to make the tree, but I realized that I really enjoy the t-shirts, and
the
so
t-shirt.
I
Yeah.
donate to offset that. But then I keep the t-shirts. So with Hacktoberfest, I keep the t-shirts, but and the coaster, and I keep the coaster as well for my beverages. But
Oh, there it is.
the stickers I do not have. So
Ah, that's funny. Yeah, I think was it Frank's who mentioned the t-shirts now.
yes.
And it yes and no. Like I feel like with the lack of recent, travel, I'm shirtless. Like I have no clothing.
Mhm.
I don't know. It was like I had depended on conferences to clothe me as a human.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of that. Yeah. Well,
So could use more. Okay.
so now and of course, luckily enough, it's really kind. Microsoft sent the MVP swag out, and so that always has like a really nice hoodie in it, which is
Mm,
this year, and they're super
cool.
comfortable. So that was like I stay enough in branded clothing that I'm comfortable with it. But Frank also
Yeah,
low
low
on
interest. Yeah,
interest.
feel you on that. Yep.
So really, we should just hold a conference where the only purpose of it is to distribute T-shirts. It'll be a conference for
Mhm.
developers who like
Oh my
T-shirts.
goodness. Yes.
T-shirt Conf 2023. Keep an eye out.
Swag conf.
Swag.
I'm
See,
down.
there you go. This is why
Swag.
we have more creative people than the other show. Swag Conf is where it's at. Swag #SwagConf 2023.
Don't
Be
get
on the
weird with it,
lookout.
Mike. Mike's making it weird.
It'll just be us with those 80s like T-shirt ironing
Oh my
kits
god,
that you can have.
yes. That's the problem. Sometimes I get these really cool like patches like from companies or from
Mhm.
events and I'm like, "Do you think I sew? What are you
Where
assuming
are we?
here with this?
Yeah, where are we doing
How
this?
does one, so yeah, I
What kind
the
of
iron
time
on,
does
that'd
that
be
even
great.
take? That's like care. That's great care. Maybe for I guess for bags or backpacks or things like that. But that would be
Oh,
like a
that's
safety
true.
pin
That'd be
for
really
me
cool.
max.
Yeah.
So we have another. I realized I hadn't even thrown up. I said I had these poll questions and I didn't throw up the poll
Oh yeah, more
questions. So
polls. Let's do it.
what you wanted to know um, are folks more on the
JavaScript side or the .NET side? Because like
JavaScript side of the .NET side. So let's
this is
present
like the
that.
coolest meetup ever because it's literally all of Alyssa's interests in one. So that's
That's
weird.
right.
But
It's a perfect
usually
meetup to have you at.
I'm either at a web type JavaScript conference or
Mhm.
I'm at a .NET geared conference. And of course there's always crossover in the audience, but that's a question I always ask people because I want to know like, okay, what angle are you
Right.
coming at this talk from? And so I would love to know like where are you coming from?
You know, and I'm happy to see. I know a lot of people are both. I certainly consider myself both, though I have a much larger background in the .NET space. Like I love
Okay.
JavaScript, love TypeScript. I'm certainly trying to get better at Angular and React, but it's something where for me, with coming from C#, TypeScript was just such an easier shift to make. Where automated
Oh yeah.
testing and that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and just the way I think about application development transferred so well to that.
There's a
So
lot of Blazor love in the chat. Is that weird?
yes, yeah.
Is that weird?
Well, I think it's kind of cool, given that how new it is. I think that
No, it's cool, but also like I have this friend Ed who needs to hear this Blazor love because he he promotes Blazor all the time. And I think Blazor's great, but also I've kind of fallen for Maui right now. And not that like they're very like they've got different use cases. It's not like you hit one or the other, but I don't know. It's just really cool that there's a lot of Blazor love in the chat right now. That's neat.
Yeah, and I guess I haven't touched it myself very much. I just haven't had the time to play around with it. But my dad has actually. So my dad's a software developer as well, and so he's actually working on some cool stuff with Blazor. And hearing him talk about how productive and things could be is now that's a sticker idea.
Sticker idea. I was just sorry. I need that. Hang on. I'm gonna screenshot this real quick for a friend. Okay, like 3, 2, 1, and screenshot. Thank you. Yeah. Oh yeah. Hang on. We'll get the hands in.
So.
Thanks. Because no, seriously, there is some people who are like really passionate about Blazor. And I don't know, it's one of those topics I think that like polarizes people. At least I found like that they either love it or they really are really angry about it. I'm like, this is not.
Well, that's I mean, we don't need to be divisive about things. It's not either or. It's and, right? It's both and, right? Yes, and for that. So we need to be more improvisational with these things. Yes, and with technology.
Okay, well, Alberto, Franks, really everybody in the chat who's saying it. I'm like trying to scroll up and look. You're in luck
you said
tonight.
Blazor love. There's also Alyssa love, right? There's Blazor love, but also folks are here regardless of technology. They're here.
Yeah,
so that's
in luck tonight because we're going to be doing some fresh Maui Blazor hybrid appage, so you kind of get to see all of it. So yeah.
Well, that sounds like a segue to me. We've got a crowd here. Folks are here, so I'm going to go ahead. I'll deactivate that poll. We'll kick off a couple of quick slides, and then we'll jump right into your talk from there.
Cool.
All right. So this is, of course, the July 2022 meeting. We're very happy to have Alyssa here. Our sponsor for this meetup is Excella, where I am lucky enough to work. Excella is a software consulting firm in the DC area. We do all kinds of fantastic stuff across modern software delivery, advanced AI and analytics, organizational transformation. So if you're looking for stuff on the cutting edge of like agility, DevOps, modern technology stacks, and techniques of all kinds, we're happy to be the shop for that. So if you've got any interest in that, either in doing that kind of work or having us do that kind of work with you or for you, feel free to reach out and let me know. I try to keep the spiel as short as I can on this, but we also have a sponsorship from Manning here. We have a discount code if you're interested. I checked it a couple months back and it still works. So if it does not work, let me know. But it's a pretty permanent code, so that gets you 30% off at Manning for your software development needs there. We'll do quick. Feel free to throw any announcements in the chat. I know we used to have this as more of an interactive meetup. When we switched to the streaming format, it's a little bit harder to raise your hand and see everybody's faces. So we do miss your faces, but if you've got announcements, coming events, looking for a job, that kind of stuff, throw that in the chat and we'll make sure that everybody sees it and goes from there. And so if you got anything else you want the group to know, please put it out there. We do have online governance as well. So github.com/ I think it says dc.net there, but I believe that's supposed to be .NET DC, which I am going to go ahead and fix for next time. GitHub.com/.NET DC, which is our meetup there. And so that's our username on Meetup and Twitter and GitHub. So there's an open governance there. We track all of our prep for our events in the open. If you'd like to speak, if you'd like a certain topic for the next event, we're taking requests. So head on over there and let us know whatever ideas you have. I also, I realized I didn't give a shout out to this earlier, to Women of .NET, which is actually where I was able to get in touch with you as a speaker, I believe. And so that's an awesome group as well. So we've got them as a fantastic source of speakers. So I realized before I forgot, I wanted to make sure I shouted out Women of .NET as well, which is an awesome group to connect with the very, very many talented women in our community. So we've got discussions at the GitHub, we've got requests, we've got issues. So feel free to let us know what you're looking for there. All right, next up. Oh, the .NET Foundation. Can't forget the .NET Foundation, of course, right? An organization dedicated to the success of .NET open source and advancing the interests of the .NET community. One of the nice things that the .NET Foundation does for us is host this great meetup, which is the .NET Virtual Meetup, which is this meetup is a part of. So if you're interested in kind of getting an understanding of meetups that are happening all over the country, all over the world, feel free to join the .NET Foundation Virtual Meetup group, which is maybe how some of you found us tonight. So we're, it's a fantastic organization doing great work. If you're interested in helping the .NET community, you could do a lot worse than starting there. So check them out and see what kind of groups you might be interested in getting started with. I already mentioned the .NET Foundation Virtual User Group. I thought I forgot the slide. Here it is. So if you're interested, there's the URL, .NET Virtual User Group. And then, of course, the main event, we've got Alyssa here tonight. Alyssa Nicole is an Angular developer advocate on the Kendo UI team at Progress. She's a Google developer expert. You may know her from her popular channel, JS Girl in a .NET World, and the fantastic videos that she produces. So we're really excited to have you here, Alyssa. Is there anything else that we should know about you? The slide never tells the whole story. Is there anything else that we should know about you as a person, as a speaker?
Not really. No, you've covered it and covered it well. So I'm impressed.
Well, thank you kindly. And with that, that's all I'm gonna interrupt for the evening. So we're gonna turn it over to you, Alyssa. And without further ado, I will be monitoring the chat throughout. Alyssa has told us that she is fine with connecting or taking questions as they come. So as you get them, I'll interrupt her as needed, and we'll go from there.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes,
Thank you.
Love streaming on Twitch, so I'm very accustomed to the being interrupted, and it's actually kind of weird when you go and you're talking to a live audience and there's not like that back and forth anymore. So I love it. I'm glad to be here. I'll have chat pulled up, so I'll see these and be able to address them, but also if you send questions, interrupt away. But yes, I've renamed. It used to be named Deploying Your JavaScript App Anywhere, but a friend helps me come up with
would you like me to share your screen, by the way? I realized
sorry, I totally assumed it was
now your whole screen is shown. I
just assumed people could see. Thank you, darling.
Now we're off to the races.
So yes, I used to call this talk Deploying Your JavaScript App Anywhere, but a friend helped me come up with Upgrade Your JavaScript App, and I think that sounds better. So really, really pumped to show you this. And let me explain my journey really fast. I'm going to blaze through this. Blazer jokes this early. The puns. So yes, from psychology to development, from Angular to .NET, I've kind of had a wide range in schooling and in experience. And I'm really, really just blessed to be here. I am a DevRel at Progress, and I love the UI side of life. I love Angular. And I've recently fallen for Maui, and I learned that through employees where they were sharing .NET with me. And I was like, what is this .NET thing? And so that's what I did. I started a channel called JavaScript Girl in a .NET World. And every Tuesday, I just kind of get on and explore a little bit more of the .NET ecosystem, which is vast. There's a lot to learn, especially with coming from the web. I had zero idea of what to expect. And so that's when I found out about Maui, and it is out of preview, and it is beautiful. Today, we're specifically going to be talking about, which I don't know if you can count it as Maui really, because it's a Maui Blazor hybrid app, but essentially it allows you, I have a very, very used example of the Tour of Heroes that I populated with ponies because that made it better. And I use it to teach things all the time. It's like my go-to demo app. And my first thought with Maui was, oh my gosh, so I can have ponies on any device, right? So I'm really excited about this because it allows you to take any JavaScript app and deploy it, to ship it to really any device. I was asked though recently if you can do it to Game Boy. I don't know specific. I'm going to defer to Sean on that one. So, but let's walk through some steps. Deploying on web. Did we get a feedback from that poll? Do we know how many people were on the website versus?
We actually did that. It looks like 60% of the folks. This is interesting. 60% of the folks who were joining at first said they were .NET developers primarily. 40% said they were both, and 0% said they were only JavaScript developers. So either the Angular BC notification didn't go out, or that's a very interesting statistic. Now, granted, it's not a huge sample size, but it's that's where the poll came down. So.
Funny. Okay. So that's really interesting. I think this is super powerful. I feel like, even if you don't do web development, there's a lot of companies that just have a web app that might need to, be on the mobile store. And I don't know, I find it fascinating that this is even possible. Should we do it? We'll talk about that at the very end. And if you have a very heated opinion, bring it on. I've heard them all. So, but the flow. So this actually might not be super familiar with most of you if you're from the .NET side, but deploying on the web, I usually choose a provider like Netlify, and I've got my Pony app, right? And it's an Angular app. It serves locally. I can test it locally, but I'm ready to deploy it. And so literally this is a very short form of, here is my GitHub repo. Here is my build command. Please Netlify host it. And then it's up and it's live. I think I have like a routing bug or something. If you go here, we're going to just go ahead and open this in our browser and pull up our browser and make our browser bigger. You might get a bug. I think I can activate it if I refresh the page. Yeah. Just keep trying is my suggestion to that bug. Also, the load time is slow because, well, I may have forgotten to take off the buffer because I wanted to show certain like loading components. So you're welcome. You get to pretend like you're on slow bandwidth today. So but no, Tour of Heroes, this is just my little demo app. And that is how I'm used to shipping it on the web whenever I go. But what if we want it everywhere, right? I'm going to hop over this part because usually I like to talk about responsive styles, but and kind of like point to you think you're ready for responsiveness. I think this is a GIF, but then all of a sudden you're on like, I think it was like an Android that I was like a screen size that I just didn't even know existed. And I was like, wait, what? And so truly once you're ready for responsive, that is when you can hop onto these steps. And I'm kind of a weird, yes, I'm coming from it from a JavaScript side, like perspective, but I'm also weird because I'm on Mac, and I should have made that another poll question. So let me know in the chat. I am going to have this up over here so I can see you all. Let me know in the chat if you're like Mac or PC. I have had also some really, it's so funny. There's not a lot of Linux lovers, but they're very, very loud. So it's like they make up for the lack of like the Linux people, I feel like, in the audience. So, but let me know what your preference is. Mine, of course, today is going to be coming from a Mac perspective. If you're on a PC, you're in luck. There's documentation galore for you and you are on the happy path. So yay for you. If you're on Mac, I got you on this, but installing .NET and installing the workloads, I'm going to go ahead and press play on this guy too. I've already done these steps. I will not take you through them because boring, but this is a little screenshot here of this docs.microsoft.com is where you have to actually go to download .NET. And then once you've downloaded that, you can use .NET to install the Maui workload. I use Terminal. I'm really sorry if that pains people. I am trying my hardest to get into Visual Studio though, and today we'll be using Visual Studio Preview for Maui. So, but this is the meatiest slide of them all. I have two really important slides. This is number one. And number two, I'll show you at the very end. But this is the bulk of what we're going to be doing tonight. And so we're going to be creating a Maui Blazor hybrid app. We will also create a JavaScript app. I'll use Angular because that's just what brings me joy. And then we're going to mush them together, and I'll show you how we can ship it to multiple devices. I'm really excited. We're going to be done with slides for a hot second. Let's go to my terminal. I did say it was terminal girl. How's chat? Alyssa's OS poll is live. Oh, nice. Look at you. You're so fast with the polls. Oh my gosh. Oh,
I do what I can. I do what I can.
And Aiden said mostly PC, sometimes Mac. Normally try and choose XPlat apps. Oh, XPlat? What's XPlat? X platform?
Cross-platform.
X platform. Maybe any platform?
Yes.
Cross. Oh my gosh. I'm so embarrassed now. Cross-platform? Wow. I've never seen it spelled that way. I apologize for my noobism right there. That was really bad. Cross-platform app. So the Switch doesn't have to, too much cognitive load. And I found though, Aiden, you're so right. The cognitive load was real. When I started JavaScript Girl in a .NET world, I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go all in. And I got a PC and I was like trying to learn .NET and trying to learn like how to operate within Windows. And it was a nightmare because everything was taken from me, all my tooling, all my hotkeys, all my CLI commands. So I was like, okay, you know what? I know it's not the happy path for .NET, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it in Mac, and it's been working really, really well so far. So let me show you a bit of that. Oh, cross-platform. Yeah, Frank's got that. Yeah. Okay. .NET EC. Yes, we're in a directory here. So we're going to go and make a JavaScript app. And we're going to call it, you know what? We're going to name it after probably Frank's. I think Frank's has been the biggest chatter so far. So ng new Frank's World TV. Is it two capitals? Yes, capitals. Awesome. ng new Frank's World TV. Perfect. But don't worry, all of my, do we want routes? Yeah, sure. CSS is fine with us today. So I'm going to make a little app, show you the Angular app, spin it up, show you what it looks like so you know what to expect. And then we're going to go and create a Maui Blazor hybrid app, do a little tour of that. And then we will mush them together while this is creating. That's good to just kind of move on. We are going to be using Visual Studio Preview, but I heard it from a friend today that Maui's going to be available in Visual Studio next month. Oh my gosh, right? Everybody's freaking out. I know. So if you're like me and you have been using Preview and you're really excited to not be using Preview, that should be next month. So let's go and create a new. And I also found out today that people apparently pay lots of money for like there's an enterprise version of Visual Studio. And I was like, what? There's so much about the .NET ecosystem that I'm still like, what? As a JavaScripter. Okay, so we are going to create a new app. A .NET MAUI Blazor app is what we want. C#, yes, that sounds good to me. I think, yeah, she's still spinning up. She's got this. It's fine. I will be getting a new Mac so that my chatters on Twitch won't be so angry at the the spin up times, because the M2 chip is finally available. Project name .NET. Oh, actually, we want to be really specific on this because we'll have two different ones. And so this one is going to be our wrapper app. And instead of projects, we're going to put it into my very quickly made into development.NET DC. And we're going to put it side by side with our web app, which is named after Frank. Yes, create that. And if we go here now and I list this out, you'll see two apps, the Frank's World TV app that got generated for Angular and the wrapper app that is currently spinning up. It is embarrassing that was faster than the Angular. Listen, I don't want to talk about it. I blame my Mac. Okay, so we're going to go and open up VS Code Frank's. I know. You're all like, why is she opening up yet another? Because Alyssa does Angular in VS Code and she does .NET in Visual Studio Preview. And that's just the way it is. I know. Maybe it'll irk some people, but we can talk through it. I'm here for you. Okay, so here is my VS Code. This is the amazing application that we just spun up. Isn't Alyssa already? What? GDE, I think.
Oh, they're talking about whether you were a Microsoft MVP at that point.
Oh, no.
Side chat about your many accolades.
No, I have a friend, Layla Porter. She was like, I'm nominating you. And I was like, no, wait until I'm ready. And she goes, you're ready. And I'm like, no, not ready yet. So I think I've held her off that boat yet. I really want to feel prepared before I walk into the MVP space. I'm not an MVP yet, just an Angular GDE.
You're ready.
For me,
don't make me start another poll.
Oh, that's is Alyssa ready for MVP? See, the problem is, it sounds like you have to pick a category to be an MVP in, at least from what I've heard through the rumor mill.
We'll chat about it.
Okay, because I'm like, I have so many interests that like I love Maui, and I'm like obviously sold it, but like to just say that's all I'm interested in .NET would feel wrong. So that's I don't know. That sounds app component. Yes, let's make this a little bit bigger so we don't get nauseated by that. Okay, so the content below is only a placeholder. which is perfect. I want to show you what the Angular app looks like before we wipe it out. So I'm going to go ahead and serve her up. Oh, first go into the Angular app, then, oh, I almost forgot. Then npm install, and then you may serve. I know there's so many rules. Ng serve. Nope, it's not going to work. Can you use yes, that's exactly what I meant. Thank you, darling. Okay. Do you all talk to your terminals? I do. I feel like when the robots rise up, they will all be a little bit nicer to me because I say please and thank you to my Google Home, to my Siri. I'm very polite to the computer. Usually I swear. Okay, so we all know whose house not to be at when they rise up. Not Frank's house. We are serving now at localhost 42. We don't need ponies anymore, so we're going to close the ponies. Okay. Frank's World TV app is running. How exciting. And you got the blue and red coloring. And I think I was really zoomed in because I'm a very blind person. So if we zoom out to the normal view, this is what a new shiny Angular app looks like. And we're just going to say thank you for this starter, and we will blow it away. And we're going to make an H1 called our amazing Angular app. And then I'm going to make a list really quickly, like as quick as a beaver. I don't know why. Why beaver? My mom would always say that. Be quick as a beaver, girls. And I'm like, why beaver? Like, are they particularly speedy? Okay. We're gonna start with Frank's since, of course, he is an amazing chatter. But I'm gonna spell it right. I want to just, for all of the people who have so far been influential in the chat, Mike, I don't know, is your handle your name? Because I just made it. And Niels is here. Yeet. I know so many of you beautiful people. It's funny how many, like when I started learning .NET, I would talk to a lot of my Angular friends and they'd be like, oh yeah, I know .NET. And I'm like, of course you do. Everyone does. Everyone except for me. So let's see, who else do we have? I'm scrolling up. Aiden was there. Aiden. And we can't forget our amazing host. Anybody else? Anybody else? Yeah, I'm gonna do your real. It was like S. Oh gosh, it's all lowercase. K. Ooh, E. Yep, I did it. I spelled it properly. All right. So we have a list.
You're so close. You're so close.
Did I spell it wrong?
Two L's. You're so close.
Is it? It's because of the I.
I pronounced your name wrong earlier. We're even. I'm calling you even.
It's because of the I, because it's like right there. So it kind of makes your eyes go cross-eyed. You're like 1 L, 2 L's, you know, like it's, but okay. Yeah. That I right there. It's throwing everybody off.
The feedback to my family as we speak.
Earnshaw. I think I spelled that right. Awesome. So beautiful chatter so far. And if we go back to this, oh, this is gorgeous, right? Like you've never wanted anything more from a web app. I totally agree. I think it's shippable. Oh, except for a button. I apologize. It click it. Yes. Perfect. Okay. So amazing, right? How long has it been since you've seen the default button? Just what it looks like. Okay. You're welcome. So we have our Angular app. We now need, well, there's a couple of things that we need to do. Let's go ahead and check out our Maui, .NET Maui Blazor combo application. So I'm going to run it for Mac. I just generated it, as you saw earlier. If you're joining us, hi. Just generated this in Visual Studio Preview. And you do need the preview bit for now. And she's starting. She's running. So we're going to give her a hot second and go look at... Boo, boo, boo. I want to do maybe this one. Yes. Okay. I always they were like, I want to see Blazor. I really hope this doesn't upset your sensibilities, but this is the most Blazor we will be seeing tonight. Right here, this beautiful Blazor web view. It's actually what gives us these superpowers that you're about to witness, and they are magical. They are magical. Okay. I think she's spinning up. I'm going to give her a second, check on chat. Hey, Andrew, good to see you. I know. Frank's feedback to your family. That was good. Sean's witty. He's on top of life for sure. All right. I think she's spinning up. So here's some of the takeaways from what I've learned in .NET. If you have a PC and it's not entirely painful for you to use it, would recommend that route for your MAUI-ing, because the pain that you are experiencing right now is not all the tooling and emulators and simulators work 100 on Mac just yet. And that's because PC is the main, that's the happy path they are planning for. And then this is just kind of a bit of extra icing on the top. So also Alyssa has the slowest Mac in the world, apparently. So she will spin up, but I have seen friends of mine who are on PC and it's pretty much instantly. So please don't take it out on MAUI. It's not her fault. So we're going to move over to, we have some stuff we need to do on the Angular side before we can ship it. And I actually wanted to come back to this. So we've created our .NET MAUI Blazor app. Next, we're going to need to delete the Blazor component bits. But what we really, really need to do is we need to insert our built JavaScript app in www root. And that's where that's how it's going to serve it, right? And show it in all its glory. So we're going to stop running this on the local host, and we need to do not .NET, the crossover, man. ng build, and we're going to do it for configuration prod. That will create a dist folder, and I'm going to go in and show you just has everything we need for our built production application, which is very, very beautiful, by the way. Are you still spinning? If she's still spinning, I might give her some I might close VS Code or something to be nice to her. How many IDEs can we run at one time? Many. I think I've done 3 heavy ones at once. Should I have? No, I should not have. Okay. I'm not really sure. Let's see what's going on with you, preview. We're going to go ahead and close VS Code. We saw the Angular app. We know it works. So this just built. So let's go and look at the built Angular app within Finder. So Frank's World, inside of dist, and I know this is super tiny font. I'm going to maybe change it to this full screen. Make them bigger. Maybe not so big. Lots of boring files. Favicon. Got to have your favicon. Your index file and all the polyfills, everything that's squished together. So what we're going to do now is a very exciting part. I do apologize. I'm going to stop this and maybe choose, I don't know, anything else. I think it was going to do like a Mac Catalyst one. We also have, and I'm going to show you slide number 2, at least what I think is the most important. This one. Love this slide. As seen by the header. So for Mac, if that happens to be you, sometimes when the tooling isn't working or the IDE isn't working, the CLI is your best friend. And so if this doesn't work, we're just going to go ahead and use the CLI commands to build them, which was actually how I learned how to do this. And then for the sake of my audience, I have been learning how to do it in Visual Studio. So,
and we did have a follow-up from Andrew about, is this VS Code preview as well? So you were using VS Preview for Mac, but were you using VS Code preview as well?
No, I wasn't using VS Code preview. I was just using VS Code for,
that's what I thought.
Yes, yeah, just normal VS Code. The only reason I'm using preview is because MAUI does not work properly. Tooling is not all there on Visual Studio, but I hear next month. So we should all be able to wash our hands of preview, VS Code or Visual Studio next month. So here is beautiful, amazing. We got it running on the iPhone 13 Pro. So yay. For those of you who love Blazor, this is like a Blazor web view. This is what a Blazor app looks like. If you have this little drop down with the counter and then a little fetch data with a little table. So this is very, very Blazery, right? And it's all inside of a Maui app, so it can be shipped to any of the devices. If I go and I close this, I can show you here on the drop down. We've got a ton, obviously on Mac, a ton of iOS simulators that we can run. I will do Android at the end. At the end of this, we can also do Mac Catalyst. Not sure what her problem was earlier. We can let her try again if we want. But we have our built Angular app. So there's kind of 2 fun steps to remember in order to get this to work if you want to try it tonight. Step number 1, you're going to want to take your built JavaScript app, and there's the Mac Catalyst app. Do I know why these things don't work? No, I do not. It's working now though, so yay. And let's go over here. 2 steps. Number 1, take your built JavaScript app. Can be vanilla. It doesn't have to be Angular. It can be whatever you want. And we're going to put that inside. Let's open up our wrapper app. Development. Where are you? I need that one. Okay. And inside of our wrapper app, we have a www root folder. This, where I'm not going to delete this. It's either going to be overridden or it's not going to be overridden. I'm going to drag, option drag, so it remains in that other one. Failed at option dragging. Here we go. Okay, so in question, it's going to ask you, do you want to replace the favicon? I do. Do you want to replace the index file? I do. I know there was no way you could have read that. There was very, very tiny text. But now we are 1 step away. We've done the first step. The second step is we are still pointing to the Blazery app bits that we really need to clean up. So yes, I know that we need to clean them up and delete them because we're not using them in this app. But for now, I'm just going to stop pointing to them. And this Blazor web view is the magic that is going to glue all of this together. And it's really kind of like its own little tiny browser that we get to use and commandeer. And it's pointing to index.html, which, as you just saw, we replaced it with our own index.html. So if I press play again, we'll do the Mac Catalyst one because I like to test fate. It was acting up earlier, so I don't know. I don't know. Whew, there she is in all her glory. Our very and look, the button even looks different, and this is very tiny. We definitely need to adjust our CSS and make everything more massive, please. And I kind of want to do that right now. What's our time like? Hang on, let's see. 5:48. Okay. Sorry, I'm Central Time. Although apparently we've got
you're fine. You got plenty.
Okay.
We're rolling with you. We're rolling with you.
Let's make the go to 0. We're gonna reopen. So actually, real quick before we go in and start messing with that, let me show you other devices. So it's really, really cool. We just saw Mac Catalyst. If we pick an iPhone, we'll see our amazing Angular app on an iPhone. And this ability, like the fact that I'm showing it on these simulators, like means that we could deploy this essentially today with approval from the App Store, like for mobile or for desktop for Mac, which is amazing. Starting up our iPhone. She's thinking about it. I remember when phones had buttons. And there she is. It's beautiful, right? Not as impressive, though, as what I'm about to show you, which is we're going to manage our Android devices. Been having a little bit of trouble, and I think this will be cleared up next month, honestly, when the tooling gets a little bit better. But I have to kind of go through the Android device manager, start the emulator through that, and we're already rotated, but we can rotate in. Oh, good golly, Miss Molly. You're like, why are you doing this? I just want my phone in the upright position. Thank you. So this is really, really freaking cool. I don't know if everybody realizes how cool this is, but this is an Angular app wrapped in a Maui Blazor hybrid app, and it's being deployed to an Android device on a Mac. And that is pretty awesome. I love that. That's amazing. Like, So very, very happy about this. This is the wrong list though. Hang on. I think what we have to do is hijack it. So if you are on Mac and you're like, that's an old list that I made before. If you're like, who are those people? There are other brilliant developers like yourselves, but it's the wrong list. So we're going to go back to remember the all important bits. We need this .NET build command because there's a little messed up right now with we need to be in our correct one. So what we're going to do is traverse into our Maui Blazor app. And I'm going to build it for Android. But because I have, let's see, I think I'm going to need, yeah, I think actually I'm going to need to specify the proj. Hang on. I think so. 1 second. Make you a little bit bigger. I want the Android, and I think we're going to get an error. Yeah. So what I need to do is specify the proj app. Yes, proj. Hang on. I'm probably not far enough into our Rappa app. And there we go. .NET build, yes, wrapper app. I spelled it properly. So why am I doing this weirdness? Android on Mac for Maui, whether or not you're using a hybrid app, has been a little bit painful. I've had to do a couple throughout the different updates, hacky things to get, essentially, there's 2 things that you need. You need the emulator running. So you do whatever you have to do to get the emulator running, whether it's through the Android device manager or whether I'm at one point was opening up Visual Studio, not Preview, and I would create a brand new app to deploy just to Android, and then I would run that application. So the emulator would be running for this other separate random app, and then I would run this .NET build command for Android, and then it would, hijack the emulator and be running my app, and I'd be able to see what it looks like on Android. So it's a little wonkadoodle on Mac. If you're on a PC, it's going to be smooth as butter sailing for you. So at least smoother than this, but this should, let's see. Should hijack it at some point. I think she's thinking about it. I have to drop for a call. Bye, Frank. We'll see you later. Be watching. Okay. That's good. No Windows Phone though. I know, right? I don't think that's ever going to be, right? Like, Sean, can you verify? I will never be able to run a Windows phone.
As far as I'm aware, it will not be a thing. It will not
Okay, cool. I'm always surprised.
It has written off into the sunset, that Windows phone.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure.
My understanding. I mean, I'm certainly not inside the brain trust at Microsoft, but my understanding is that is not going to be a thing.
Oh, Jay, I'm sorry. Let me show you real quick because it's this. I don't know. I know it shouldn't be like this. I am also streaming, and she's old. She's coming up on. I will replace her. I know it brings pain. Okay. Android. Boop boop boop. We got what I'm wondering is if I spelled everything correctly. Wrapper. Wrapper app. So I did .NET build -t run 6 Android. Yes.
It looks like it's saying no available device. Maybe that's from the
emulator
there.
Perfect. Yeah. So that's so weird because it should know about that. Let's try again. I'm going to try to run this. My Pixel Pi. Neil's comment. She can go to the ranch to retire in peace. And I literally just got all her stickers figured out too. I know it's like full circle, right? Like it is so painful getting a new laptop whenever the hardest part is just letting go of those, right? There's no peeling those buddies off. All right. Let's see.
That's another vote for the no sticker camp, by the way.
Yeah. Then you that's literally saying I'm never going to love Alyssa because then I won't have to lose anyone. And
cattle, not pets.
Cattle, not cats. Couldn't read the pop-up. Was curious. I can't install VS and Xcode both on my Air. So, you don't. Do you need? Wait, I'm pretty sure Xcode is already on the air unless you mean something else, right? Like, doesn't Mac just come with that, and that's something you have to deal
Yeah,
with? Like,
I thought you should be able to do both. It's certainly, if you mean running them at the same time, yeah, then that might be challenging
ah,
on an area,
hmm
but installing them, oh, not enough space, disk space, sure. Yeah, they're greedy little buggers with the disk space.
okay. So let's see. I'm gonna try. I think that should, yeah. So it should. We'll give her one more go. But this is what it looked like earlier today when it was working for my demo. So sorry that it's not working right now. I don't know why she doesn't know about this device. I've been having problems with the Android device manager, and if you this whole add a new device button, that's not a button that one should ever press if they want to if they want to live in peace. But I really am excited for next month and for what that means for Mac.NET developers. But again, most of you are on PC, so that is awesome. I'm really excited about what I'm going to show these, what this means for, because I kind of went ahead and did the rest of the steps of like actually deploying the application. Um, and yes, went to the App Store, bought my little license. King Gerald for the win. Would love to, some shout outs in the chat if you've heard of Gerald, or is it Gerald? I'm pretty sure it's Gerald. No one says Gerald. Anyways, absolutely remarkable walkthrough for exact deployment. So if you're like, I need to get this JavaScript app up tomorrow, right? Like this is phenomenal. But it walks through some of these steps that I learned all about for going to developer.apple.com, downloading Transporter, and developer.apple.com. It asks for a lot of things like certificates and identifiers for your app. Gerald walks through each one of these and where to find specific ones that can kind of be wonky to find. And then for those of you who haven't deployed to the App Store, when you do create your production build, it gives you an IPA file, and you'll need to use something called Transporter to upload that IPA file, and it will connect to the application on developer.apple.com. But you're not done yet. You go to appstoreconnect.apple.com, and that's where you're going to fill out the meat of the application. Some hiccups that I ran into: privacy policy. I was like, especially for this Tour of Ponies application, I was just showing pony data that was local. I wasn't even doing a call out to anything. And so I was like, I'm not gathering data. There is no login. I don't want to know who you are or identify you in any way. So I was really surprised. It doesn't matter at all if you're gathering information or not about your users. You still need a privacy policy. And actually, in that privacy policy, it states whether or not you're gathering that information. So I found a free generator, and it was really cool. Both stores that I attempted to deploy to, the App Store and the Play Store, they both required a privacy policy. And there's a lot of free generators out there that will walk you through building them. And I say free if you're gathering certain types of data or making certain amounts of money. I think the privacy policy costs, but for a lowly dev like myself, it did not. And they even host it and give you a URL, because that is what both stores want. Is they don't want to upload the privacy policy like a PDF. They want a URL to your privacy policy. Screenshots, really freaking cool, because I'm running these emulators and these simulators on my Mac. So every single screenshot that I needed for either store, I just took, and those were accepted by the stores. The reason my first rejection, that story's coming as to why it's not live right now, but rights to firstborn, yes, it did feel a bit tedious. Android deployment, a little bit easier, just because I feel like there were less moving pieces. A lot of it was just through the Android Publish Studio. But again, King Gerald's guide for the win. I think, this was me showing the checklist that I was working on. But the CLI commands, very important. And I wanted to, there was one other thing, because we talked about deployments. I think that was, the reason it wasn't, I got rejected because apparently yours truly does not have rights to My Little Pony. And so I actually reached out to Hasbro and filled out a request to use My Little Pony for my demo. So we'll see. The form, after I filled it out and sent it off to their lawyers, the auto response was like, it could take up to like 3 to 5 months just to hear back. And I was like, wow, that's quite
On,
the
on their form, did they make you pony up any cash? I'll see myself.
There was no cash ponied up, but that was beautiful. That was absolutely exquisite. But no, I have had a blast learning .NET from a JavaScript perspective. And honestly, Maui is amazing and it's so much fun with or without the Blazor bits. I know there's a lot of Blazor lovers in chat and that's really great to see. But I'm just having fun and learning, learning this trick on how to get your JavaScript app deployed anywhere was really, really fun. So I think that might be all for me for now, unless there's any questions or we want to talk about alternatives. Yeah. I know that's always a hot topic. I hear often.
I'm looking back on the chat to see if we've had any other specific.
Because I do hear often, why not Electron? And I feel like because Electron is gross, maybe isn't politically correct. So I have to come up with something else to provide.
I think it's funny. I think that was one of the original. I swear there was a question about Electron in the chat. It was one of those very early on.
If you love Electron or Universal or some other thing, that's wonderful. But I've had a blast doing this with Maui. And even though I'm on a craptacularly slow Mac, it's still really easy, like just to do it this way. So yes, I guess like there is that idea of why would you leave the ecosystem of JavaScript, right? And for me, it wasn't that big of a leap and it's massive benefits. And I love learning about new ecosystems anyways, but I could see it. I think there was another thing that's brought up often is why not PWA? But I really do feel like there is a difference between, and this is kind of my next step for this talk, is to create some interop between what Maui gives you access to on the device and then the JavaScript and the actual functionality of your application, because that is possible. And I think showing that would kind of prove a point about how native is different. So
yeah. In fact, I think that was one of the questions. Yeah, one of the benefits of Blazor Maui apps from here is the ability to use the platform APIs. Do you know if there is a way to hook those into your Angular app? Can you pass those from that Blazor web to and actually make use of them?
Yeah. So I've been talking with, I can make you a little bit bigger. Some people who know a lot more about .NET and Maui and what those things offer, and they said it is as simple as essentially you've got the API of what Maui gives you access to, like whether it's your camera or your file system or whatever, native thing. And then you have the JavaScript API for those things, and they don't always line up. So your hardest thing is going to be creating that interop between those two APIs so they speak the same, so they know what they're talking about. But it 100% possible. So I'm really excited to add that onto my demo, even if it's a simple and we took a picture with the camera, I don't Sean, do you know, like if I wanted, I was thinking today, I was like, okay, what should my first thing be? And I was like, nobody else gets excited about file systems like I do. So I was like, it's camera can you use the camera on those simulators? Like, is that, how far do those...
I will say I don't know about the camera. I thought you could use location services. That might be something that you could build in
that you could use
from a demo perspective to kind of like pull a location maybe. But I assume you should be able to use the camera, as that's like a pretty base platform capability across mobile. But I haven't tried it myself, so I can't say.
Okay, cool.
But we have another question here from Alan. Hey, Alan, good to see you here. We've got is there a way to have your wrapped JavaScript application open a second window?
Oh, yes, I was playing with Windows actually the other day. I'm assuming you mean like in like a Mac Catalyst type app, like those type of windows. Is that do you know, Sean, what we mean by window?
I think, if we've got a mobile application, can it open another app? Can it switch to a website? Can it open a Chrome? In the way that, like, if you have an app, I think this is what Alan means. Alan, certainly jump in if you don't. But I think what he means is, if you're in an app and you click something and it then goes to another window or opens a web browser, for example.
Yeah, as far as at least everything that I've experimented, it functions how like any type of little mobile app would work. I haven't ran into any boundaries. So yes, I have like navigated to other applications. I haven't done with
Oh,
mobile
what about like a
development
dialogue
like
window? The dialogue windows and things like that as well.
I think so. I think that's going to be part of the interop because I think I'm going to need to depend on the Maui side to access. Okay, now I need a new dialogue window and then to talk to the JavaScript. So that actually might even be better than trying to use, location services.
I think so.
Alan,
Less
you've
involved.
cracked the code. I'm doing it. That's what I'm going to work on because.
Cheers to Alan.
Yeah, seriously. Oh my God, that's such a simple way, but you're demonstrating like how you're accessing the native portions of it of like why Maui. I love that. Thank you.
And that's great because they're going to appear different on each platform. You're going to have that nice understanding of how the thing works. So definitely, that's a very good example.
Oh,
this
thank
is why
you.
I enjoy crossing paths with people like that. Right. I was going to say I don't see other questions in the chat that Alan gives us a smile, which is always nice. So I'll say we can certainly hang out for a couple minutes and see if folks have additional questions, and then if not, we'll wrap it up.
It was a lot of fun. I'm wondering though, like Sean, have you done much? So here's my weird experiences with .NET. I've started learning C# basics, looked into Xamarin Forms a bit, and then now I'm like, oh yeah, Maui. I need to like learn how to. But like whenever one learns how to, like, let's say open a dialog window in Maui, that's like, is that? I found a lot. It's weird. I found a lot of crossover where like I'm learning a tutorial for a Xamarin-y thing, but it kind of counts. Sure. That's where the crossover of these things.
you can try. There's definitely. I think the goal of the ecosystem. I think one of the things that Microsoft does really well is that it really typically tries to build paths for people to build bridges from one technology to another. And I think that's part of the overall. Again, I haven't heard this explicitly stated, but it seems to be a very part of the overall developer experience for that stack is that they really want folks to be able to take knowledge and bridge that or transfer that when possible into other stacks. And so I think it seems like there's certainly been some conceptually there's some things that apply. I will say I myself in the .NET world, I have never, and you kind of inspired me to start playing around, but I've never actually built a mobile thing. So I haven't built, I've been doing this for 15 years. I have not built a mobile app with .NET. So I may need to not check it off.
It's so funny because like my brain immediately goes to, what have you been doing?
What rock have I been hiding under?
What like desktop or API stuff?
So I've been doing a lot in the web space, API space. So, and then typically also, in the consulting world, we have a lot of enterprise engagements. And so often, a lot of times what I'm doing is also making their software more robust. So I do a lot in the automation, test automation, TDD, introducing software quality concepts, and then of course all the options, all the things around APIs and web applications as well. I've done some desktop stuff too, but typically speaking, it's been web applications for me for a long time. So it's sort of just
that's so cool.
It's actually been by chance.
Does that mean
I'm open
that
to building desktop and mobile. It just really hasn't come up for me. Certainly would have no problem learning to branch out into it, but it's mostly the demand for web stuff has been high for a long time.
That's really, does that mean you learned Blazor right when it came? Are you a Blazor pro?
Yeah, this is just going to reveal just how stagnant I am. No, I messed around with Blazor when it came out, and there's also been some great stuff happening around Razor pages and the MVC space. I come from like an old school when web forms became MVC.
UDP.
Web forms was way back before .NET. Web forms, so way back before .NET.
I've heard a ton of happy, like people still really thumbs up, like about like at least I think it was like really good experiences. No, you don't think so?
It blew things away at the time. I think for what was there, and then they really did some advanced things. It's just it's a really it quickly was leapfrogged by other things, and I think for a lot of what I encounter is organizations that don't they don't often seek to adapt first, or they don't have
Oh.
that sort of mindset of we should really be continually improving and continually looking at our options and making sure that things stay fresh. There's a balance to be had there, but I think a lot of organizations, there are some who are still using web forms, which has been long past its lifetime for a long time now. And so sometimes, you know, we'll see clients or we'll see, you know, opportunities come up where folks are still using that technology, and we really have to make sure that they understand the risks that they're taking on with that. So it's, you know, it's kind of a balance. But when web forms became, you know, .NET and then you know, .NET MVC, that's sort of where I picked up with things, and that has taken me quite a long way. So I've messed with Blazor. I've, you know, done a ton of stuff in the web space, and then but mobile has not been typically a thing for me. But very excited about Blazor, about web. I will say, Blazor came out when I was just starting to get my JavaScript chops into place.
Oh, okay.
Right? And
Nice.
so I think part of it is that when I could have been preoccupied with Blazor, I was really trying to go deeper on my JavaScript skills.
On your JavaScript side. No, that makes sense. How old is Blazor? Do you know? How long ago was that?
Not very. What?
Like less than 5, right?
I'm Googling it right now furiously, lest anybody.
So Andrew had a couple questions. 2018. Okay. So he was asking, doesn't Angular have a way to create a mobile app directly? Yeah, it's mostly just PWA. There was something called NativeScript that actually was owned by my company for a really long time. And then they open sourced it and let it off into the sunset. But it really is just PWA or Electron or Universal, or like it's finding something else outside of Angular in order to go mobile. And then do most MAUI apps use Angular or Blazor? No, what I have done today will anger many people, and you probably shouldn't share it. It's really not done. Maybe probably frowned.
Well, I think there's opportunities, though. I mean, I think that makes sense for that to be a pathway or an opportunity for things. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if Microsoft wants to bring folks into that world and wants to increase the adoption of MAUI, then certainly allowing you to bring your existing application, JavaScript application, into that world, that could be a huge benefit.
Well, and I think that's because there's these two different MAUI applications. There is a true .NET MAUI app, which is for multi-platforms, but it's very much the next evolution of like Xamarin Forms, and it is what Windows, what everyone is like, they're all in for now, right? Everyone's like behind the MAUI horse. What we used tonight was a MAUI Blazor hybrid app. And it's really, it looks totally different. Like if you look at the views or even some of the architecture between a MAUI app and a MAUI Blazor app, they look very different. But if you're familiar with Blazor, you should be right at home in a MAUI Blazor app. And it is, essentially, I'm assuming like its original intention was, hey, you know Blazor, you like the web, use this to ship that web app everywhere. And then people like me just came along and were like, or we could ship any JavaScript app, right? So to multiple platforms. So that's kind of where that came from. I would assume most MAUI apps are the normal MAUI apps, not Blazor hybrid.
I think that's and MAUI's new enough that I think it's you know,
I think it came out of preview like was it 2 or 3 weeks ago? Like it came out of preview, so like
it's fresh out of the oven. So
yeah.
All right. Well, not seeing any other questions. So I think with that, we'll probably go ahead and wrap it up. But I do just want to say thank you so much for coming out, Alyssa. It was great to have you here. Certainly, like I appreciate you bring your own lively banter, and the comments have been great. Thanks to everybody for showing up in the chat tonight.
Chat. Yeah.
And hope to have you on in the future. And really just want to say thanks again, and have a great night.
You. It was wonderful. Thank you all. You're beautiful, chat. Mwah!
Thanks, everybody. Have a great evening, and we'll see you back here in August for a meetup that is to be announced. Speaking of which, if you're looking to speak in the meetup in August, let me know. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, everybody. Have a great evening, and happy developing. Thanks, Alyssa.